Elvis was signing autographs when he heard a mother scream. Her baby wasn't breathing. Nobody knew what to do. What Elvis did in the next 60 seconds saved that child's life. But the mother didn't find out who saved her baby until 20 years later. Coincidence, or angel? It was September 12, 1975. Memphis, Tennessee. Graceland's front gates. Elvis had just returned from a tour and decided to greet the fans waiting outside. About 50 people were gathered. Elvis was in a good mood, signing autographs, posing for photos. Just being Elvis. And then everything changed. A woman's scream cut through the crowd. Not an excited fan scream. A mother's scream. My baby. Somebody help. My baby isn't breathing. Picture this, the crowd parted instantly. Everyone turned. A young woman, maybe 25 years old, was holding an infant. The baby was limp. Blue-tinged. Not moving. Not crying. Not breathing. Her name was Jennifer Collins. A single mother from Nashville who'd driven 3 hours to Memphis with her 8-month-old daughter, Sarah. Sarah had choked on something. In the chaos and heat, Jennifer hadn't noticed until the baby's lips turned blue. The crowd froze. People started shouting. Call an ambulance. Pat her back. Turn her upside down. But nobody was actually doing anything. Everyone was panicking. Except Elvis didn't freeze. Elvis dropped the autograph book he was holding and ran. Through the crowd, pushing people aside. Give her to me, Elvis said to Jennifer, his voice calm but commanding. Now. Jennifer was hysterical, but something about Elvis's voice made her respond. She handed him the baby. Elvis took Sarah and immediately positioned her face down along his forearm, head lower than her body. He began delivering firm back blows between her shoulder blades. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nothing. The crowd was dead silent. You could hear Jennifer sobbing. Elvis flipped Sarah over and began chest compressions. Not adult CPR. Infant CPR. 2 fingers. Precise location. Correct depth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still nothing. Come on, baby, Elvis whispered. Come on. He flipped her back over. 5 more back blows. And then it happened. Sarah coughed. A small, wet cough. Then a stronger one. And then she started crying. The most beautiful sound anyone in that crowd had ever heard. Elvis held Sarah upright as she coughed and cried and gasped for air. Color was returning to her face. Her eyes opened. She was breathing. Elvis handed Sarah back to Jennifer, who collapsed to her knees, crying. She's okay, Elvis said gently. But you need to take her to a hospital right now. Make sure there's no damage. Jennifer was crying too hard to speak. Just nodding, clutching Sarah. Someone call an ambulance, Elvis said to the crowd. But then chaos erupted. Everyone started pushing forward. Cameras flashing. People shouting Elvis's name. Security trying to control the crowd. In the confusion, Elvis stepped back. He didn't want the attention. He'd just done what needed to be done. By the time the ambulance arrived, Elvis had already gone back inside Graceland. If you've ever wondered what real heroism looks like, hit that like button. Jennifer was still on the ground, holding Sarah. The paramedics checked Sarah's vitals, confirmed she was stable, and loaded them into the ambulance. Who did the CPR? One of the paramedics asked. Everyone started talking at once. Elvis. It was Elvis Presley. He saved the baby. But when they asked Jennifer directly, she didn't know. I don't know, Jennifer said through tears. Everything happened so fast. Someone took my baby. Someone saved her. But I was crying so hard, I didn't see who it was. The paramedic wrote, "Infant saved by bystander. CPR performed before arrival. Bystander left scene." And that's how it stayed for 20 years. Here's where the story gets even more incredible. Sarah grew up healthy. Normal. Happy. But she always knew that someone had saved her life when she was a baby. Her mother told her, "We were at Elvis's gates. You stopped breathing. Someone saved you." I never got to thank them. For years, Jennifer tried to find out who had saved Sarah. She wrote letters to Graceland. Tried to contact people who'd been in the crowd. Even hired a private investigator. Nobody could give her a clear answer. Some said it was Elvis. Some said a security guard. Some said another fan. The stories didn't match. Then, in 1995, Sarah turned 20. She was in medical school, studying to become a pediatrician. She'd chosen that path because of what happened to her as a baby. For a school project, Sarah decided to research her own story. She wanted to find the person who'd saved her life. She requested the ambulance report. It took months, but she got it. Infant saved by bystander. CPR performed before arrival. At the bottom, multiple witnesses claim Elvis Presley performed rescue. Sarah didn't believe it. Elvis Presley? That seemed too incredible. But she kept digging. She found newspaper archives from September 1975. There it was. Elvis saves baby at Graceland gates, refuses interview. 3 paragraphs. Elvis performed CPR, saved the child, declined to speak to press. Sarah showed the article to her mother. Jennifer stared at it. "I don't remember. I was so scared. I didn't see faces. I just remember someone taking her, and then giving her back, and she was breathing." Sarah tracked down people who'd been in the crowd that day. 5 people. All said the same thing: Elvis saved your life. One woman, Margaret Foster, had photographs from that day. When Sarah saw them, she started crying. There was Elvis, holding an infant. Face down on his forearm. Performing back blows. Another photo, Elvis doing chest compressions. 2 fingers on a tiny chest. Another, Elvis handing the baby back to a woman on her knees, Sarah's mother. The final photo. Elvis stepping backward as people surged forward with cameras. Sarah had the photos enlarged and framed. She brought them to her mother. "Mom," Sarah said, "I found him. I found the person who saved my life." Jennifer looked at the photos and started crying. 20 years of wondering. And now she knew. But Elvis had been dead since 1977. There was no way to thank him. Except Sarah found another way. On August 16, 1996, the anniversary of Elvis's death, Sarah and Jennifer went to Graceland. They brought flowers. And the photos. They stood at Elvis's grave, and Jennifer finally said the words she'd waited 20 years to say. "Thank you for saving my daughter. Thank you for giving me 20 more years with her. Thank you for not caring about cameras or credit. You just cared about saving her life." Sarah added, "Because you saved me, I'm going to save others. I'm becoming a pediatrician. Every child I help, every life I save, it's because you gave me the chance to be here." A security guard came over. "Are you okay?" Jennifer told him the story. The guard, who'd worked at Graceland since the 1970s, listened carefully. "I remember that day," he said quietly. "I was there. I saw what he did." "Do you know why he left?" Sarah asked. The guard smiled. "That was Elvis. He didn't save your life because he wanted credit. He saved it because that's who he was. If he'd stayed, it would have become about him being Elvis. He wanted it to be about you being alive. Subscribe for more stories where small moments revealed extraordinary character. Sarah Collins, now Dr. Sarah Collins, graduated from medical school in 1999. She specialized in pediatric emergency medicine. She became an expert in infant CPR and choking prevention. Over her 20-year career, Dr. Collins has saved dozens of children's lives. She's trained hundreds of parents in infant CPR. In her office, on the wall behind her desk, hangs a photograph. Elvis Presley, holding an infant, performing CPR. Below it, "He saved my life so I could save others." Every parent who brings their child to Dr. Collins asks about the photograph. And she tells them the story. "Elvis Presley taught me something important," Dr. Collins says. "You don't need to be a doctor to save a life. You just need to know what to do and be willing to act when everyone else is frozen." In 2015, Dr. Collins published a medical journal article, "The Elvis Effect: How Bystander CPR Saved My Life and Shaped My Career." It went viral in medical circles. Now used in medical schools as an example of the long-term impact of emergency intervention. "When Elvis saved my life in 1975, he didn't just give me 20 more years. He gave me a career, a purpose, and the ability to save dozens more lives." One act of intervention can ripple forward for decades. Today, there's a small exhibit at Graceland dedicated to Elvis's quiet heroism. The centerpiece? The photograph of Elvis performing CPR on baby Sarah, alongside a letter from Dr. Sarah Collins thanking Elvis for giving me life twice, once as a baby, and once as a doctor. Share this story with someone who needs to remember that heroes don't seek recognition. What Elvis proved that day wasn't that celebrities are special. It was that in an emergency, we're all just humans helping humans. He heard a mother screaming. He saw a baby not breathing. And he ran forward. 60 seconds. That's all it took. 60 seconds that gave Sarah 20 years of life before she even knew who to thank. 60 seconds that created a doctor who would save dozens more lives. Dr. Sarah Collins still visits Elvis's grave every August 16th. She brings her own children now, teenagers who exist because their mother existed because Elvis Presley knew CPR and wasn't afraid to use it. Real heroes don't need recognition. They just need to see someone who needs help. And they act. Elvis did. And because of 60 seconds of action, Dr. Sarah Collins has had a lifetime of saving others.